Okay, we're ready.
Now, so let's call the public meeting to order at 3:08 PM. Apologies, I try my best. This is like a moment of full disclosure. I try my best when I'm looking at the agenda to assess proper timelines, like, all right, we're gonna do in camera here, we're gonna do public here, and sometimes I'm on to the minute, sometimes I'm not. Today would be one of those days where, so I apologize for the fact that we're an hour and 8 minutes behind schedule, but that is on me. So I appreciate everybody's indulgence on that. So we did meet earlier in camera to discuss matters of an in-camera nature as defined by section 44 sub 2 of the new legislation, the CSPA. And now we're in public session. So as is my typical practice, I want to take the opportunity at the top of the meeting to make a series of combination of announcements and housekeeping matters and recognitions and moments of silence, unfortunately, today. So sadly, I want to start with a moment of silence to remember court prisoner security supervisor Peter Smith, who passed away on June 1st. Peter was with the LPS for 20 years, first as a garage attendant, and prior to that, a successful business owner in the heart of downtown London. Peter will be remembered for his dedication to his work, his easygoing nature, his sense of humor, and his ability to connect with others. And so if I could just take a moment of silence in honor of Peter. Thank you. Staying with kind of a somber note, on June 12th, during an active investigation, an OPP officer was shot during an active investigation in the Timmins area, which speaks to us of the daily sacrifice that our frontline officers, everyone in uniform, have to factor in and take into account every single day that they show up for work. There's always the threat and the possibility that things don't go as planned. And this officer that was shot on June 12th during this active investigation serves as yet another reminder for us about the daily perils that our officers here in London and the province and across the country have to face on a day-to-day basis, and putting themselves in harm's way to protect our collective well-being and our safety. So I want to say our continued thoughts and prayers are with the OPP officer in particular and the OPP in general as a result of what took place on June 12th. Staying with somber note, I promise you that we're going to move to happier things. But June 6th was the 3-year anniversary of the attack and the murder of the Axel family that took place here at the corner at the intersection of South Carriage and Hyde Park Road. As has been the practice for the last 3 years, members of the community congregated at the actual Hyde Park and South Carriage for a vigil. And I wanted to say a special thank you to the London Police Service, to the chief and to the deputy chiefs and members of the service that showed up and provided support. Your presence was appreciated, was valued, not just for showing up on that day, but everything that's happened since that fateful day 3 years ago, June 6th, till to this day. I wish I didn't have to make this announcement every year and this recognition every year, but I do want to say thank you on behalf of the board, on behalf of the community, for everything that you do and continue to do to support the community at large and the Axel family in particular. So thank you for everything there. On a happier note, I do want to welcome Acting Interim Deputy Chief Scott Guilford to his first meeting in his acting deputy chief capacity. Deputy Chief Guilford, I promise you that I will take it easy on you today. I can't speak for my colleagues. They may have some hard-hitting questions for you there, but I just want to recognize and say thank you for assuming this role. London Police Service Officer Andrew Goh received the Police Association of Ontario's Hero of the Year Award on May 24th. This award pays homage to a police officer or civilian police service employee who has made a significant impact over the past decade. Andrew and his canine sidekick Riggs, who I met, I think, at the dinner last year, and I'm not a dog person, just don't know that it doesn't. It's impossible not to love Riggs, right? So have fostered dialogue amongst LPS members about Andrew's mental health journey, stemming from an operational stress injury during his service. He founded the Veterans and Everyday Heroes, a nonprofit supporting OSI affected individuals, particularly in obtaining service dogs. So a well-deserved honor and thank you to Officer Go there. I'm also, for the record, not a cat person, despite the fact that I have a cat over there. So thank you very much to Andrew. Staying with the positive news, on June 17th, LPS officers Sergeant John Dance, Constable Blair Corso, and Constable Brett Thomas of the London Police Service were recipients of the 2023 Ontario Medals for Police and Firefighter Bravery relating to a devastating building collapse that they responded to on December 11, 2020. The Ontario Medal for Police Bravery was created in 1975 and recognizes acts of extraordinary courage and bravery performed by members of the Ontario Police Services. And the Ontario Medal for Firefighter Bravery was created in 1976 and honors firefighters who have gone above and beyond to protect and serve their communities. So a special recognition there. Speaking of special recognitions, our very own Ryan Goss, who's in addition to being a member here of the London Police Services Board, is also the Director of Operations and Personnel to Liberal London North Center, Peter Fraguscatos, who I've known for 25 years. I went to university with Peter and I still never know if I pronounce his last name properly or not. So did I get it? He has been named the Hill. So Ryan's day job is he works up in Ottawa, spends a lot of time in Ottawa supporting Peter in his capacity as Director of Operations. And so Ryan was named, and Ryan, you tell me if I got this wrong, the best Liberal Hill staffer, the best Liberal constituency staffer, and number 4 in the top 25 terrific staffers amongst all parliamentary staff, according to the Hill Times. Get it out, right? Your face, Ryan's face is turning a tone of red right now. So I just want to say a recognition of Ryan, like we recognize Ryan for all the work, the incredible work that he does here with the London Police Services Board on a, I would say month-to-month, week-to-week, day-to-day basis. And I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Ryan for his exemplary service, not just here at the Police Services Board, but it's also recognized up on Parliament Hill up in Ottawa. So Ryan, congratulations and well done on behalf of the board here. So. Chief Tai Trung, one of the first things that I noticed about Chief when he walked into his first interview was his beautiful coif of hair. I don't know, I as somebody who's challenged in that area myself, and so if you take note, and Chief will tell you, I've taken every opportunity to comment to him personally about what I think about his hair, but I have to recognize the Chief because it wasn't just a summer haircut, it was yet another example of the Chief being out in the community and supporting different causes. And in this case, it was Cops for Cancer. And it was members of the RCMP, the Chief and a number of members who actually took the buzz to their hair and shaved off their hair in support of, cops supporting cancer fighting initiatives there. And so I just want to recognize Chief for, again, yet another example of exemplary public service out in the community and decent sacrifice. It wouldn't, Paul, if it was you, it'd be a different thing. Same here, but I don't know. We'll hopefully by the time we reconvene in September for our next board meeting, it'll be nice there. So anyway, but between now and then, everybody just let Chief know how you really feel about it. The inaugural Ontario Police Suicide Memorial is occurring this Sunday, June 23rd at 11 a.m. Police services from across the province will gather in Toronto for the first annual Ontario Police Suicide Memorial. This memorial serves as an important opportunity to recognize and reflect on the legacies left by our fallen sisters and brothers while legitimizing the grief of those left to carry on their memory. And I just wanted to draw everybody's attention to that on June 23rd there. June is a busy month in terms of different events and recognitions that take place across. It's National Indigenous History Month, it's Pride Month, Canadian Multicultural Day is on June 27th, so I wanted to take an opportunity to recognize those important designations in the month of June. And lastly, and I've confirmed with Paulo that he's good, but we recently learned that Rick Robson, after a number of years as executive director of the London Police Association, is going to realize on his very well-deserved retirement there. And so we, on behalf of the board, that'll be, I think, at some point in the summer that he'll officially retire there. So I know Rick's not here because they're tied up with other matters today, but I want to, on behalf of the board, recognize Rick for the exemplary job that he's done in the ED position with the LPA for a number of years. We've got a great, close working relationship with Rick and the LPA, and I just want to take a moment to reflect and say thank you to Rick for his years of tireless service there. That being said, Paulo Dominguez, who is the current president of the London Police Association, will be assuming the role of executive director at some point, I think in the summer. I don't have a specific date, but Paulo will be assuming the role of executive director, filling Rick's big shoes there. Congratulations to Paulo for that achievement on behalf of myself and on the board for that. I will be personally happy because every time I see Paulo, he insists that I call him Mr. President. I never do. And now if he tells me, I tell him I don't have to do that anymore. So Ozzy, another soul, who is vice president of the London Police Association right now, will assume the role of acting president of LPA again at that same time. And so congratulations to Ozzy for assuming that role, at least on an interim acting basis there. So normally these kind of announcements that I make only take 30 seconds, but I had quite a bit, which is fitting for our last board meeting before we break for the summer. So members, I don't know if there's any questions arising from anything that I had there, but that's my housekeeping matters right there. All right. So with that, let's formally move into the agenda. Disclosure of interest. If any board members have any conflicts of interest or disclosures of interest that they want to make, this would be the time to do so. Anybody? Seeing none. Are there any introduction to business? Is there any new business that any members want to add to the agenda for today's meeting? Perfect. And we have the addendum. The only thing that I have a note of right here is the addendum for the police service annual report, which is going to be that's found at agenda item number 8. So that's just an addendum in your package there for the board. So I don't actually think that qualifies as new business per se. Okay, in your package at agenda item number 4, you have the minutes of the May 16, 2024 meeting. Are there any deletions, revisions, substitutions that are required to the minutes? If so, let me know now. If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the minutes. The revision, yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to note there that I left at 4:30, so I wasn't for the last couple of months.
Okay. All right, so we'll have that reflected. In addition to member Stevenson, are there any other revisions, deletions, and additions to the minutes? Seeing none, can I get a motion to approve the minutes as presented for May 16, 2024? Moved by member Goss, seconded by member Lehman. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. I'm going to go to agenda item number 6, which is investigations conducted by the Special Investigations Unit. But the reason I'm telling you to move the 6 is the annual use of force report. I believe we're going to move that to our next board meeting. So can I get a motion to move that to our next board meeting? Yep, member Goss, seconded by member Branscombe. Anyone opposed to moving that to our next board agenda meeting? Seeing none, that is carried. So I'm going to look over to Deputy Chief Bastine for investigations conducted by the Special Investigations Unit, which is agenda item number 6, Deputy Chief.
Thank you, Chair. And through you, this report before you pertains details with respect to 4 separate incidents, each of which involved the SIU involved its mandate to investigate instances where contact with the police would result in certain outcomes, including serious injury. In the case of each of these before you, a serious injury was sustained during the course of an arrest by one individual. 3 of them had to do with arrests that were for offenses that had just occurred. One was in relation to an offense, to outstanding warrants for the arrested party. In each case, the SIU found that the officers were justified or were cleared of any criminal wrongdoing by the director. And the subsequent investigation that was performed by the professional standards branch determined that each of the members involved complied with LPS procedures or else relevant legislation with respect to cooperation with the special investigation unit. And subject to any further questions, if there are too many questions, that's the report for the information of the board.
Thank you, Deputy Chief Bastien. Members, any questions for Deputy Chief with regards to the investigations? That's not you. Seeing none.
Never see.
Yeah, I have, because Vice Chair Walker's in my ear here, I heard her say move it first, I'll say, moved by Vice Chair Walker, the board receives for informational purposes, the SIU report involving 4 SIU related matters, moved by Vice Chair Walker. Member Branscombe second, who has never whispered in my ear for anything. Hear her loud and clear. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. The next agenda item is the development of procedure for international travel. You recall that this was a discussion before the board a few months ago. Looking over to you, Chief Trong, to speak to this one.
Thank you, Chair, and through you. The board report that you have before you, it's for an update and for information shared to the board with respect to the new procedure for international travel for training and professional development that impacts our organization and our members. While we drafted this procedure, I want to publicly thank Alan Shepard from Western and Peter Devlin from Fanshawe College. They allowed their people to support our organization, specifically Lily Cho from Western University, Candice Miller from Fanshawe, Jeff Wright from Fanshawe, and Stacy Pipicelli from Fanshawe College. With their support, we developed and designed a framework prior to sending members on international travel for business or training or conferences. We now have a framework that our members and our commanders can rely upon as sort of a checklist to go through when they consider the request for international travel. With that framework also is a briefing report that Western University supplies to us with respect to the country or destination that our members are seeking to attend for work-related purposes. So it's a robust procedure. It's a procedure that allows us to make informed decisions. Once we have that framework in place and issues are discussed and considered, we rely upon Western to provide a full briefing report to talk about a number of issues, mainly specifically for us, one of the geopolitical landscapes that may or may not be occurring in that host country or destination. Once we have that information, then we can make an informed decision at the chief and deputy chief level. Subject to any questions, that's information and update to the board.
Thank you for the report, Chief. I'll look to my colleagues if there's any questions. I'll start with Member Branscombe.
Thank you. Thanks for this report. I think it's very thorough, but I have one question. We talk about risk, as I recall, when I wasn't closely following the incident that set this off. But it seemed to me that one of the concerns was not where it was and what kind of training it was, but who the other attendees were. There are some paramilitary police organizations that were attendees, and that seemed to be a big part of the problem. And I'd just like to understand how this risk assessment addresses that, because I don't see that connection, but everything else I'm quite satisfied with.
Thank you for the question, Member Branscombe, the chair through you. Now, with risk, that allows our commanders to contact, if it's a conference or training, Member Branscombe, in the risk assessment, it allows our officers or our commanders to reach out to the organizers and seek further information. So, although we can't control if we're going to a conference, international conference, we can't control the attendees, but at least it allows our members and our commanders to ask questions that are in their control. And although we can't control everybody that's attending, the questions that are raised allow us to make an informed decision.
So you get the answers to, they had troops from Belarus that were military going to something, it might not be a place you want to send our officers. So,
Correct.
okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Member Lund.
Thank you. Just to echo Member Bransco's words, Chief Trong, this is a very well thought out, thorough policy. And thank you for reaching out to experts that we have in our community and not trying to do this within, the police organization. This world of very highly complex political situations, this is a very challenging policy that you've drafted. I just want to ask you and to remind us again why international travel is needed for training.
Thank you for the question, Chair, through you. If we're trying to make sure that this community is safe, we cannot learn in our own environment. You have to see what is happening globally. You have to see what's happening everywhere else in the world. Some of the best training is international training, depending on what that is. We send members quite often and regularly outside of the province, outside of Canada, to receive the training. Having our members be trained beyond the training itself, there's training when you're interacting and learning from fellow law enforcement agencies and individuals. Our priority is to make sure that our members get the best training, and we can't just limit ourselves to the training that is only in London, because every police service looks outside how we learn from each other. So when we have an opportunity to, in terms of a training, conference, seminar, even working with another law enforcement agency, now we're going to look at the return on investment. We're going to look at mitigating any risks or concerns, and we look at from an organizational and a reputational risk perspective as well, and of course the geopolitical landscape. So training is very important. We simply don't have all the expertise here in London.
For you, Chair, thank you. And I agree. Your team's involved in very high level and potentially lethal situations, not only to your officers and to people that are directly involved, but also to the public in a close urban setting many times. And so I think that is money well spent in having our officers trained to be the best in the world to mitigate both safety concerns. So thank you.
And any, yep, Member Boss.
And just to, thank you through you, Chair, just to echo my colleagues, no, I think it's very robust and I'm happy to see with what has come back. I just want to drill down a bit more, just for further clarification on Member Bransco's point. So specifically on certain attendees at training and certain attendees, I'm more concerned about certain military organizations as they pertain to certain countries. I guess will the LPS, when they're consulting with Global Affairs Canada, will they be also engaging on advice on attendees, specifically military, police forces that may be tied directly to certain states that aren't as independent as a police service in Canada would be? Would the intention be to have dialogue as well and submit a potential list of attendees should that be provided to you specifically on training? Because again, I come back to where we heard considerable concern from the community was around attendees at the Dubai competition and what those organizations represent and what they mean in a much larger conflict that's currently ongoing. So I don't want to miss an opportunity if we can vet those lists through experts at GAC that can provide feedback, because I don't expect that of you. I don't expect that of your team here. I work in federal politics and I don't know everything there is to know about those sort of things. And that's why there's policy experts for different regions of the world. So I just want to make sure that there's some thought into that, and should we be afforded the opportunity to vet those participants through global affairs that we do so.
Thank you. And Chair, through you, absolutely, that will occur. Having said that, this policy just doesn't just impact our emergency response unit. It impacts, we send an investigator on human trafficking conference with 1,000 people. There are going to be individuals from all over the world and all over the country and internationally on that. You can't possibly vet every single individual. But that is something that we'll keep at, in mind, and we'll do we'll do our due diligence as best we can. But I just want to reiterate, we don't control the conference, and there's conferences that happen quite often with international attendees from law enforcement to military, even on investigative conferences. But that's something we keep in mind, and we'll do our best. This procedure will impact more of our investigators and our police officers outside of ERU.
Yeah, and supplementary, Chair. For you, I completely concur with that. Like I think we need to be where it's practical to do so, right? When there's 1,000 people attending an FBI workshop, it's not going to be practical to do so. But when we're talking about foreign entities and, government militaries and non-independent police services, I think it'd be prudent to do so and make sure that we are engaging with Global Affairs Canada where the list is smaller. But your point is well taken on that, and I just want to make sure that my comments aren't misconstrued to think that would be practical, because it won't be. It's more on the other side with those smaller groups that we really should keep a close eye on as to who we're engaging with.
Sir.
Chair Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to the chief. I just wanted to ask, I understand completely that you can't police from other countries all of the participants. But I do believe that what we can do is make sure that we're not sending anybody to training facilities where the country is known to have human rights violations as part of their record. And so my question is, do you believe that there may be times where you will make a decision not to send officers, even though it is a well-known training facility, because of those violations?
Thank you, and Chair, through you, I can tell you this will allow us to make an informed decision. It'll allow us to look at all the risk factors in the risk assessment document and framework. It forces our commanders to look at compliance, strategic considerations, financial considerations, operational considerations, reputational risk, all of that, in addition to the briefing report from our experts from Western, who will look at the geopolitical landscape and the human rights history and relationships that country or that destination has with Canada. Once we have that information, we will make those decisions. But I can certainly tell you, Vice Chair Walker, that if there's any concerns that come to our, if it comes to the executive level, that means there are members in our organization that believe there's a need to send our people there. So I want to make sure that we consider all those risks in every situation in and of itself. And if we have to deny that request, we will.
Because I think it's not just, with Canada, but impact on the world when we send places where there are significant human rights violations. That's just my point. And I would like to think we would say no to those opportunities, given the significant backlash against countries right now who are, living in abhorrent situations.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Just a clarification on section E. Chief, just for the public and everyone here. So section E, chief of police, the chief of police or designate shall review all international travel approval reports and provide final approvals, et cetera. Can you maybe talk about, just for awareness, like, or what or designate means? Who does this actually involve? So, yeah, like who, if you're not around, like who does approve it?
Yeah, so for international travel and chair through you, all international travel outside the US will have to be approved by either myself or one of the deputy chiefs.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other last questions for Chief?
I'll move
Regards to this? So we'll look for a mover. I'll give you the exact wording here. So that the board accepts this report and the attached international travel procedure, ensuring a structured, informed approach to international travel for LPS members there. So that's moved by member Goss, seconded by member Branscombe. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Thank you, Chief, for the report and those questions and the answer to the questions there. So, agenda item number 9 is the I'm going to look at Deputy Chief McSween for the LPS multi-year budget impacts. So over to you, Deputy Chief McSween.
Thank you, through you, Chair. It's my pleasure to introduce Inspector Jen Noel. Inspector Noel is the inspector in charge of the corporate support and continuous improvement branch. And Jen's going to come up and give a presentation on the annual report. And while she's Mel and her getting everything set up, I think it's really important that we recognize the incredible team behind the robust annual report that you have this year. We've taken a different approach with regards to not only just reporting on what is required of us adequacy, but also highlighting the great work of our members and also the community engagement that we've been very busy doing for 2023. So while Jen is getting set up, I just want to recognize Dee Wu, Katie Forbes, Sean Jacobson, and the entire business analytic unit that came together under the leadership of Inspector Noel, and then also Director Kathy Blanc, who put the package together for your information today.
Good afternoon, everyone. The annual report highlights the accomplishments of the London Police Service in 2023. This marks the end of our previous business plan, which started in 2019 and was extended until 2023. During this business plan cycle, we worked through a pandemic, we dealt with staffing challenges, and we welcomed a new chief who brought a new modernized approach to policing. Adequacy standards require that a police service has an annual report, and the Policing Standards Manual defines a framework. Today, I'm going to highlight the regulated topics, and I encourage you all to review the full report where you can find stories and photos highlighting the exceptional work done by this police service and our community partners. Chief Trung started with the service in June 2023 and has brought a modernized approach to our leadership model, including the addition of a third deputy chief, as well as an updated mission, vision, and value statement that align with who we are and how we serve our community. Our mission to ensure the safety and well-being of London's communities, our vision to be a leader in community safety, our values, professionalism, integrity, passion, courage, and community. And listed are the topics that I'll highlight today. The report details crime in London, including total criminal code offenses, total violent and property crimes with clearance rates, and the number of adults and youth charged. And I'll note here that our definitions of property crime and violent crime have been updated so that they're in alignment with Statistics Canada. Road safety continues to be a top priority in London. If you drive in London, you will have noticed a dramatic increase in traffic enforcement. Our traffic management unit routinely focuses on what matters most to our community. This includes ride programs targeting impaired driving and targeted enforcement initiatives such as loud mufflers and street racing. The report highlights many of our community policing and crime prevention initiatives. These initiatives underscore our commitment to proactive, data-driven policing aimed at enhancing community safety and well-being. Here are a few examples. We speak to how evidence-based policing methods are used to inform crime prevention initiatives such as hotspot policing, targeting high-harm individuals to disrupt and prevent crime, and providing alternative reporting methods to victims of intimate partner violence and sexual assaults. We conduct detailed analysis of crime, calls for service, and public disorder patterns to forecast trends and guide proactive policing strategies. Our analysts are strategically integrated throughout various units. They analyze crime, call, and public disorder in our community and use that knowledge to inform how we approach crime prevention and enforcement, and they ensure that critical information is available to everyone that requires it. One of the key requests from our community was enhanced police visibility downtown. In March of 2023, the London Police Service opened a community foot patrol office at 183 Dundas Street. It enhances both visibility and convenience for those who live, work, and visit our downtown. Our motto, "Deeds Not Words," is exemplified through volunteerism and our employees who participate in countless events to support numerous initiatives in our community. No annual report would be complete without talking about response times. It's important to note that we use the 90th percentile in our reporting. We do that because we believe Londoners want to know when they can expect an officer to arrive. The 90th percentile tells you that 9 out of 10 times an officer will arrive within this time. As we continue to provide alternative reporting methods, such as online reporting, we have seen our average call times and response times increase. Essentially, as we redirect the less complex calls, the calls remaining are more volatile and complex and often require more than one officer for safety reasons. We expect that response times will improve as a result of the budget increase and service delivery model. We are proud to work with our community partners to provide excellent support to victims of crime. Examples that are highlighted in the report include the Violence Against Women Advocacy Case Review Program, the Victim Support Initiative, and the Speak Out Anonymous reporting tool. The Violence Against Women Advocate Case Review Program has played a pivotal role in reviewing sexual assault cases without charges. In 2023, out of 587 reported cases, 254 fell within the program's mandate. The Victim Support Initiatives provide survivors with assistance and resources. This program saw over 100 referrals in 2023, and 80% found the program helpful. The Speak Out tool enables anonymous reporting of sexual assaults and facilitates a safer space for victims to come forward. The establishment of the Beacon House Child and Youth Advocacy Center has been instrumental in providing trauma-informed support for child abuse cases. Partnering with the London Family Court Clinic, Beacon House Child and Youth Advocacy Center served 122 youth and children and their families in 2023. The London Police Service Human Trafficking Unit collaborates closely with 13 community partners, including Atlosa Family Healing Services, London Abused Women's Center, and others. We work with organizations like the London Family Court Clinic to educate youth about online safety and address exploitation issues. We also support individuals in survival sex work and chronic homelessness, partnering with groups like Women's at Risk to secure housing and provide ongoing support. Public complaints are detailed, including the nature of the complaint, how received, and how they are resolved. Our budget in 2023 was just over $1.3 million. This translates to $752 per household. Overall, we completed 70% of the strategic priorities set out at the beginning of 2019. A small number of these were discontinued due to changing circumstances, such as the end of the School Resource Officer program. Others were delayed to focus on new priorities, such as the pandemic, and they have been carried over to our current strategic plan. Again, these are the legislative topics that I've reviewed, and I encourage you to read the full report. It highlights the great work that our members accomplished in 2023 with excellent photos of our members and our community working together to make London a safer city now. A PDF will be available on our website immediately with the web version to follow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any questions for the team with regards to the report that was just provided, this will be the opportunity. Yes, Mr. Walker.
Thanks for your presentation. You're all doing really great work and I appreciate it. I wonder about, I think just one thing, but you talk on page 23 of the report about crime analysis with the crime type. So I'm just wondering if in the future you could give some consideration to, attempted homicide and homicide are male dominated terms, and oftentimes it's women that are murdered. And there should be, in my opinion, an acknowledgement of the fact that it's women. So I understand that at this point, there's no use of the term femicide, but I do think it would be great to break out those so we can see how many are women and how many are men. Would that be possible?
I believe that's included in one of the board reports.
One of the.
I believe we break down by gender some of the
You
stats
may-
for you, so it may be.
I'm just thinking like some people may never read a board report, but they may read something. I know.
So I take your for consideration and.
Yeah,
Which
maybe
direction?
just talk about, because it is something for me that is important, and also I think for the community, it's important to name what is happening. I just had another couple tags there, so if you could just bear with me. For one moment, sorry, maybe that discovered. That's all I have. So just give me one more. Yeah, I think that's great. I do love the photographs in this, and I really love, that you're highlighting certain issues consistently throughout this. It's just great. Like even the one where you say kudos to our community patrol sections, like I think it's really good to acknowledge them. So thanks.
Appreciate the feedback.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Vice Chair Walker. Any other questions from members of the board? Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion that the board receives the 2023 LPS annual report. Moved by member Branscombe, second by member Voss. Anyone opposed? Receiving that, seeing none.
Assume it's on our website or it'll be on the police website.
So that motion is carried, and I believe I see nods, so I can get us up there, or we'll be up there shortly, so. Thank you thank you. There you are. Your white shirts with black ties, I'm like, so, thank you so much, for that, presentation. So Deputy Chief McSween staying with you, LPS multi-year budget impacts.
So through you, Chair, thank you very much. This memo that you have before you is just a follow-up to the conversation that we had last meeting with regards to the presentation provided by the City of London. I just wanted to ensure that the information as presented on this memo is satisfactory to the board.
Thank you, Deputy Chief.
That was
Questions?
from last meeting. We had.
Yeah, this is the last meeting we had, and it was, I can't remember, the gentleman from the city, and there was a bunch of questions, so this is coming back. So I don't know if anybody has any follow-up questions.
Receipt.
from that.
Do you need a motion to move receipt?
Yeah, just to receive it, yes. Yeah, well, also that as well, right? So to receive and then also to approve posting it, right? So.
Yeah, I'll move that.
So member Goss, you'll move that. Member Stevenson will second that. Any last debate, discussion? No, seeing none. Anyone opposed to receiving and then posting? Seeing none, that is.
Receiving.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. Agenda number 11, you'll note there are two pieces of public correspondence in the. Yeah, no, in the package, there's the letter, it was a response to a letter sent to us by City Council with regards to the metrics proposed in the budget business case there, as well as a letter sent to the Honorable Minister, Solicitor General Herzner with regards to femicide and femicide-related issues. We provided, in consultation with Vice Chair Walker, provided some very important and pertinent statistics from the Canadian Femicide Observatory for Justice and Accountability with regards to femicide and some of these staggering statistics that a woman or a girl are a victim of femicide every 2 days in Canada. And we've requested an opportunity to meet with the minister to discuss, Vice Chair Walker and I to discuss some of these. And so we got to a response from the minister, who has always been very, very receptive to any request that this board is making. So that's there. If we go back, just any questions with regards to any of the correspondence that was sent out? Seeing that, so just moving to motion to accept receipt. Member Layman, second by member Branscombe.
I just have a quick question.
Oh, yeah, sorry, Josh, member Morgan, mayor, whatever title you want to go with. Go ahead, yeah.
That I'm any of them are fine. I just because the one is in response to a letter from council, I just wanted to make clear, we're acknowledging receipt of that information. As we've said all along as a board, it's fully our intention. The commitments the chief has made, the commitment that we've all made to the public on reporting on metrics and the impacts of the multi-year budget, that'll be forthcoming. This letter is simply acknowledging that we've received some information from council, and we're still proceeding with our intent to put forward a metrics reporting regime. I just wanted to ensure that that's the case, so that when I go back to my colleagues, it's very clear that this is acknowledgement of that.
Thank you, member Morgan. Appreciate that. Okay, so I actually, forgive me, I should have actually looked online there so to see if the member Morgan. So I can't remember who moved it. It was member Lehman, seconded by member Branscombe. Member Morgan's weighed in. Is there anybody else that wants to weigh in before I call the vote on that? Is anyone opposed? Seeing none, that is carried. Thank you. I did skip over agenda item number 10. There's a few things that we've had to reshuffle this because we're kind of far behind in the schedule. So 10 revenue offsetting, we're also moving to September as well. So we'll deal with that in September. Agenda 11 is carried. Anti-racism advisory panel update. Telling you that member. Yeah.
Need a motion. We need a motion.
Yeah, you know what, we should, yeah, so yeah, we did it for the other one, right? So a motion to move the agenda item number 10, which is revenue offsetting personal cost report, to the September 19th agenda meeting, moved by member Goss, seconded by member Stevenson. Anyone opposed to moving that to September? Seeing none, that is carried. Thank you. So ARAP, or Anti-Racism Advisory Panel, met on June 11th. Member Goss and I were there to represent the board. A few things of note. We have changed this is a panel that would historically meet monthly. We thought we had a discussion with the panel and with the board. We've moved to now quarterly meetings on that. We found that kind of it may have been a little too onerous for community members to show up on a month-to-month basis to discuss. So we've now moved to a quarterly meeting. So our next meeting of ARAP will be in September, and then every 3 months, so on and so forth. We had, as always, a good discussion with regards to matters impacting. So the advisory board provides insight coming from lived experience from members of the community who provide advice to the panel, who then report back to the board here. One of the things that we're doing is we're looking at our terms of reference, as well as trying to retain individuals from the community to sit on the panel to provide their input and their insight to matters affecting the board there. So one of the things I did want to note was one of the panel members, who I won't say who it is just because I don't have permission to share this, but made a pretty noteworthy comment, and it flows with something that was made in Inspector Noel's report there. A panel member who works downtown commented about how she has seen officers, more visible presence of officers in the core. And she said that it's something that she has observed, that colleagues of hers who work in the Corps have observed, and she wanted to convey that to the panel. And I did say to her at the time that I would then share it with the board and publicly, that that's a sentiment that's not just shared by her alone, but I can tell you a number of people, not just in the Corps. I can even tell you my wife and I were driving down Wonderland in Southdale, and we saw one of our officers to pull somebody over on what appeared to be a routine traffic stop. And my wife said to me, yeah, I'm seeing more of that over the last couple of months. So it's not, there's this kind of pervasive sentiment out there, whether it's officers in the Corps or more traffic stops that are taking place. We're seeing a visible manifestation of policing in a way that we haven't seen in the last few years. And I know that this will be something that we'll see with increased frequency, month after month and year after year there. So just some kind of anecdotal observations by panel members and others, right? It's a good thing. It says that at least anecdotally we're moving in the right direction. And I know that the metrics and the data will bear that out once we share that. So So our next anti-racism advisory panel meeting will be in September. I don't know if anybody has any questions with regards to the report itself, but that's the report for me to wrap. So just we don't need a motion to receive that. No. Okay. So I will now move on to the chair's verbal report, much of which, almost all of which I spoke to at the very top of the meeting there in terms of my housekeeping report. The one thing that I do want to draw attention to is we just passed the 1 year anniversary of Chief Trung joining us as chief of the board. I think your first official day was June 1st. Feels done a couple things since then. So I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that the chief has been with us for 1 year in a couple of weeks. And in that time, I'll speak on my own behalf, but I know this is a sentiment shared by quite literally every single member of this board, has done an incredible job. It's not an easy thing to come from the outside into an organization, into a new city, into a new organization, and to take the helm of this of the service. We tasked Chief Trung with a bold mandate for transformative change. It was one of the things that we discussed with him right during the first interview, during the second interview, during the third interview, during the initial period before he was started. And I want to say on behalf of the board, whether it's the passing of the largest budget in the history of the city of London when it comes to policing, whether it's talking about modernizing the police service, whether it's talking about, my goodness, Chief, 5 different people can come to me and say that they saw the chief in 5 different parts of the city at the exact same time. And I know that they would all be telling the truth. I've never seen a chief anywhere with the level of community involvement out at different events, different community events, different not-for-profit, different multi-faith, right? Busting your hair for Cops for Cancer. Like it's actually, it's an incredible task. And I know that you can't lead from behind a desk, right? And I see you out there doing an incredible job representing the service, the board, the community out at different things. And I just want to say it's been an incredible year. We're doing big things here. We're changing the face of policing the service for the city of London. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of the board for all of your efforts. And I know the chief will say, it's not just me, it's my team. And I want to say to your team, to the deputies here, to your senior command, thank you on behalf of the board, because I know that this board, we have high expectations when it comes to what we're looking for. And we know that with these high expectations, that it's not always easy to meet those. And I just want to say thank you to your team, to your senior command, to the civilian and to the sworn members of the service that have done just incredible work in the last year. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the year and the year after that and the year after that and the year after that looks like. So thank you and congrats on 1 year. And it's either been the biggest year of your life or the longest year of your life. I'm not sure, but you don't have to comment on it.
Just say something.
Yes, please.
First of all, I just want to echo Deputy Chief Sweeney's comments about the annual report and all the work that's been done through Inspector Noel, Dai Wu, Director LeBlanc over there on the glasses, David Forbes. A ton of work went into the annual report, and I just want to thank everybody and acknowledge all the work that's been done on that. And also your comment about you and your wife seeing our officers stop cars.
And to clarify, it wasn't my car. That was should be less thrilled with it.
That makes me and the administration up here feel very proud that the community is seeing that impact. Because our members out there are working really, really hard to make this community safe and build trust in this community. They're working day in and day out, and it's a thankless job. it really is for our frontline, and our frontline officers don't get the credit that they deserve. A lot of our members that are in specialty units, they're there for passion. They're there, they're driven to do really serious and incredible work. Our frontline are facing every single day incidents and situations that the general public doesn't really understand and how hard it really is for them. So our frontline are working just incredibly hard. So I just want to acknowledge all the work that everyone's doing in this organization. And I will say too, I wasn't expecting you to call me out in my 1 year.
Yeah.
So in 1 year, I have more gray hair, I have less hair. And I can tell you that I work very hard because I really do care about this community and I care about our members. But there's no way that I could come into work every day as the chief, because it's hard being chief, without my incredible team here. 3 of my deputies, Maddie, who's sitting up here as well as council, and all my senior leadership. But I'm just grateful that I have a really, really good team, and I have a fantastic senior leadership team, and truly the work that is being put in, the community doesn't really see how hard our members right from the ground are working, and they're working incredibly hard. So I can tell you in year 2, I'm very, very optimistic that this community is going to continually see positive change. And I just want to acknowledge the board's support and your support, and acknowledge how much you care about this community and this police service. So thank you to you.
Thank you, Chief. I will say one last thing about the chief here before I pass on. The number of times I've received an email from the chief at 2:18 a.m. or 3:32 a.m. or 1, I'm not sure that you sleep, and I'm not even being facetious when I say that. I'm not sure I come across. I'm somebody that has a pretty strong work ethic, and I like to grind, and I go pretty hard in my day job and here. But the number of times where I'll send an email, I think I'm all right, I'm about to put the laptop down at 1:05 before I go to bed, just send it off so I don't forget. And then I'll wake up and I'll have a response at 1:15. I'm like, just gonna go to sleep. Yeah, I'm going to sleep. So your work ethic, your time, your effort, your passion, your dedication is paying dividends 1 year in, and I'm excited, and the board is excited to see where we're at down the road. So thank you for everything that you and your team do, really, truly. So, okay. I don't know if it's fittingly or not fittingly. We're coming towards the end of the agenda here. This is normally where I look to the administrator to provide her report. I want to talk about Jen Foster for a few minutes. Jen Foster. I thought Jen was going to need the tissues here, but maybe she place them up here. In this area. I got it. So, okay, there's a couple quotes that come to mind when I think of Jen Foster, right? And by the way, I'm giving everybody advance notice on the board, and in the event that if you want to say anything nice about Jen, I'm going to say after I'm done my thing, please.
But do I want to say why you're saying?
I'm about to say. So,
I put it on the agenda.
I'm reading Jen's chair notes. So Jen, after 32 years in public service, that spanned Ontario Works and the City of London, and the London Police Services Board has decided to, I would say, selfishly say that she's going to go into retirement, but selfish from the most. I'm being selfish because I'm saying to you, I wish you weren't retiring, Jen. When I think about Jen, there's 2 quotes that come to mind. Number 1 is rest at the end, not in the middle, right? And the second one I wrote down: a life lived in service is not a sacrifice, it's an honor. And when I was appointed by the Solicitor General, then Sylvia Jones, back in December of 2021, I remember getting a phone call from the Solicitor General saying, hey, congratulations, you've been appointed to the London Police Services Board. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing. I don't know anything about the London Police Services Board. And I parked my car in early December out front in front of the police headquarters, and I walked up the ramp. And I didn't even know who, like, would I just go wait in line at the front where the officers are at the front? Like, where was I going? I didn't know anything. And before I even got to the front, I was greeted by a lovely woman who was a stranger to me at the time, who had a smile on her face, who provided me quite literally a warm embrace, who made me feel welcomed within 5 seconds of meeting her. And she said, I still remember in the lobby downstairs, she was profuse in her congratulations, profuse in her welcome, so much so that I felt like I knew this lady after only having spoken with her for 1 minute. Like, I actually felt like, okay, if everybody at police headquarters is as decent and is as nice and is as honorable as Jen Foster, this is going to be a great experience. Because let's be honest, most people don't want to walk into London Police Headquarters. Right? It's not a destination place for most of us, right? So that was my first impression of the London Police Services Board. It's kind of like I said about the chief. It doesn't really matter whether I emailed, texted, or called Jen at 11 a.m. or 11 p.m. I would always get a response. Always get a response. She always, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, she would always make this organization her number one priority, to the detriment of her family, to the detriment of her personal life, to the detriment of her beautiful twin children, to the detriment of that. We talk about work-life balance, but for Jen, it's like work, and this was a manifestation because your passion and your dedication and your love for this place. It's something that you wore and you wear. I don't want to use past tense. You wear it every single day. You are the keeper of all knowledge when it comes to here. If you think about the number of boards that Jen has sworn in, the number of chairs and vice chairs, and the number of mayors, and the number of members, and the number of counselors that you have greeted at the front door and welcomed over the course of your career, the number of times that you've had to entertain what would be, I know I've asked my fair share of dumb questions where you got to smile, like, well, I've never felt once where I'm like, hey, Jen, what about this? Or what about, you're always so gracious and kind in terms of your demeanor here. Your legacy will be your lasting and indelible impact on this place. It'll outlive you when you retire, when you have your last day next week. Even though you aren't going to be here anymore, the impact and your legacy will be felt in these walls for years and years and years to come. You are a public servant in the greatest sense of the word, Jen Foster, right? Whether it's Ontario Works, whether it's City of London, whether it's the London Police Services Board, you are the epitome, you are the embodiment, you are the personification of what we want in public servants. Sometimes people give public servants a bad rap and they say, oh, they got cushy jobs and they come in and they clock in at 9, they leave at 4 o'clock. Jen Foster is the complete opposite of that. She like the chief, she's never off. I mean, she needs longer days, so she sleeps faster, right? That's what it is. And so I just want to say to you, on behalf of the London Police Services Board, congratulations on your incredibly well-deserved retirement. Congratulations to someone who never said, I can't do this because I'm too busy. I can't do this because I'm sick. I don't think you took sick days. I'm not going to ask you how many sick days you took over the course of your career, but I promise you I could probably count on one hand the number of sick days that you have taken over 32 years. You represent and you embody the very best of the London Police Service, the very best of the London Police Services Board, the very best of the City of London, and the very best of public service. Jen, I know you love this place. I know you love the people that live in the City of London. I know that you love the people that come into work every single day here. I know that love Mel and you're like a big sister to Mel.
Mm.
And I know that you love Sam Santos and you guys have this incredible relationship. And I know that there's so many different people that you've impacted over the course of your career here that are going to miss you dearly, us foremost amongst them. You're a mentor, you're a big sister, you're a friend and a colleague, you're a dedicated and passionate mother. What a role model to your children, to your twins. What a role model you are. Who get to look up to their mom and they get to see in their mother a living, breathing example of what public service is. You're doing your children an incredible service by showing them what it means to be a dedicated, passionate, and ardent public servant. Your legacy will be your work. It will be your impact. And truth be told, Jen, what more could anyone ever want from a career than what you've put into this place and put into the service of the city? It's been an honor to work with you on behalf of the board. It's been a privilege to work with you. I selfishly lament the fact that I won't have an opportunity to work with you longer, but you have put in your time. I know I don't want to say this is your last chapter because I know there's other chapters that you're going to write, but I'm very grateful that this board and myself personally had an opportunity to be part of one of your chapters there. And I want to say thank you on behalf of the board for everything that you've done and who you are. And so with that, I just want to say somebody else say something nice after.
Thank you, Ali.
Jim, I want to ask you to say something, but I want you to wait to hear, I want other people to have an opportunity to weigh in. So let's go. Nobody feel compelled, but just place your offer.
So I had the good pleasure of meeting Jennifer when John Perry was still chief. And I was always at meetings to raise a ruckus here. I remember I said I
Things never change.
had said I was going to attend the meeting. And so it was like big for me to be able to go. And I was really, really sick. I don't know if you remember this. And so,
City Hall.
yeah. And so I was standing there and I was trying to talk and I didn't have a throat and I was in so much pain in my throat. And I cried. I started crying, which I never really do. And you were amazing. I remember I was walking out of the council chambers at the time and thinking to myself, I have to go as fast as I can so I don't run into anybody, especially a talker. And who do I run into? The talker. And so there I am, you're asking me, oh, no, you're doing so great. How can I help? And the next thing I I received notice from my office that Jennifer had made a significant donation to the work of the LPSB-Ont Center. And I thought it was just so incredible to talk for so long about the importance of the work of Block to the community and then just right away go ahead and make a donation. It was so spectacular, Jennifer. And since that time, I have relied on you, well, especially since being appointed to the board, for so many technological backups. And sometimes I would call or send an email many times a day, wouldn't I? Really? It must have been a nuisance, but you never let on. You were always so kind. I know, but you were so helpful and so responsive. And I just want to say one last thing, Jennifer, that I think really epitomizes who you are. Well, maybe two things. One is that after I left Block, you kept getting phone calls from me. And you were just amazing. Like you were so kind to the women that called. You referred them appropriately. You consulted. You went beyond the call of duty. And sometimes you even listened to those horrendous stories that women experience. And secondly, I just wanted to say that one of the things that I think really epitomizes who you are to me is when this issue came up about Dubai and this really amazing woman sent an email saying she wanted more information. Do you remember this?
Oh,
And-
yes.
And how she didn't understand and you consulted with her. I think she wanted to speak with me or something, and you consulted with her and told her you would pass it along. And at the meeting, before the meeting, you called to let her know that it would be a dialogue around the buy situation. And if she wanted to watch, where she could watch it, and she did watch it, and she responded afterwards. And just was so pleased to be able to watch it and so reassured at the actions that the team had taken around to buy and the changes that were going to be forthcoming. And you were like the person available to all people, whether you were supposed to be or not, and you do love your job and you're very passionate about your job. And I think you're going to really miss it. And I know you will find many things to fill your time. But I think given your passion for this place, you'll always have a little twinkle of Leonard Police Service in your heart.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then when you're really missing it, you can go down the street and talk to Tom O'Brien.
Yes, that's right. My neighbor.
Yeah.
But he's never in town anymore.
Oh, all right. But you can always talk to us. Anyway, I really appreciate you, Jennifer. I appreciate everything you've done for me personally and for the board. You will be missed and you've made a difference. And I don't think we can ask for anything more than to walk out at the end of the day knowing we've really made a difference in the lives of so many. So thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll say a few words. Jennifer says, same kind of story. I joined the board in March of 22 and got us all prepared. And I remember me and my million questions. Why are the minutes 35 pages long? Why? I texted her and you called me Sunday morning. Why is she calling me Sunday morning? Well, because you had questions. So we spent at least over an hour talking about how the decisions were made. Some members said, so I had a much better understanding about why things happened, but it's that above and beyond the call of duty that really stuck out to me, and just the absolute passion that you have for the London Police Service. And I mean, anybody that is near you can feel that, and you just exude it. So I don't want to belabor it. You're going to be missed. I mean, you got big shoes to fill, but I think that you've done a great service for the city of London in very many ways. I've only known you recently, but we've all heard the Jennifer stories about all the good work you've done all these years. So thank you very much.
I can follow along with similar stories. New counselor, newly elected to the police service board, not sure what to do. And Jen was there, so reassuring and so delighted. Like, I just felt like you were so excited to have us. She just welcomes the new people, takes them in. And it's not just an offer of help. She literally has been there to help and guide the whole 18 months. So always there proactively, always cheerful, no matter how frustrating you must be sometimes. And very encouraging for me to run for the director position on the OAPSB. And I think you were more excited than I was when I got elected. And you can really feel your passion for this place, your pride in this place. You were always so excited to connect us in any way and do a ride along. Right there, she even got the whiff that we were interested in doing. So I was like, I'll connect you, I'll get you there, I'll get you at that conference, I'll connect you with this guide. And just thank you for your joy, your passion, and your support. Thank you. Yours too.
Yeah, no, I think it's always hard to follow Ali, I always say, because he's one of the board members that I've ever met. And then I'll echo what all my board members would say, but I think that one of the biggest things that we should note is, and everyone in this room has experienced in some ways, just how kind Jen is. And unfortunately, kindness seems to be a bit of a dying trait, especially in public offices and public roles. There's walls put up, we live in a culture now that with social media and that can become very toxic. So, but Jen has always been there as that kind voice, that kind person. No question is too dumb. No problem is too small. And she always was there as the most recent board member. Ally had a very similar story. When I walked in, Jen gave me a hug. So I have this thing about personal space, but Jen, 20 seconds. I was like her, and I'm excited. All right, we'll go with this. But she was there throughout the entire process throughout a summer transition. And I just want to say thank you. I have a line that I always say that some people get into public service to be somebody, and other people get into public service to do something. And every moment along your journey in public service has been to do something positive for the community you live in. And it's so easy to treat it as a job. It's so easy to treat it as a paycheck. And you poured your heart and soul into this, and the community is grateful for it. So thank you for your service for 32 years.
Well, I'm a little bummed out. Here I thought I was a teacher's pet. All the things you did for me, you're doing for everybody. Creating me in. Things take away calls. This, for a year and a half, it seems like 5 years, and I think you're just one of those people that you've known forever, even though you've just met them. And I want to thank you personally for, as we mentioned, for taking someone who didn't know anything about policing and getting up that learning curve, very steep learning curve, very quickly, and being very proactive and making suggestions, as Susan said, about finding hints of interest and being proactive and expanding that. As has been said by others, it's great. It'll be hard not to see her, set this table. Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, so I'll share a story about Jen from like 3 minutes ago. When I turned off my camera because my son came in. I got muted. So yeah, so 3 minutes ago, my son comes in to show me his.
Oh, no.
So this is the dry run.
No, I
This is
think.
great.
There we go. Okay, there you go.
I know, it's like it automatically mutes me. Anyways, Jen, I said a whole bunch of nice things about you, but let me just summarize this. Let me summarize this way. Your career, both at the City of London and here, as many have said, is a career in public service. It is not the easiest thing to do. Those of us who exist in this space knows that it is filled with wonderful opportunities to serve the public, but also comes with the challenges of being in the public face sometimes. You have handled that experience exceptionally. You've been professional. You've provided great service to the people of London, and I know they thank you for it, whether they were aware of it or not. As was said, you have changed and impacted the lives of many, and that's something that we can all be thankful for. So thank you, Jen, for everything you've done on behalf of the citizens of London.
Thank you, Mayor.
I will close out on behalf of Deputy Chief Bastian, McSween, and Guilford, and the entire organization here at the London Police Service. Thank you for helping us work towards our mission to ensure the safety and well-being of London's communities. Our civilians don't always get the recognition that they deserve, and we refer to our civilians as civilian police professionals, and we refer to you the same way. So thank you for all the work that you've done. We get to see it from our lens, and we also get to see how much work and pressure you're under that the board knows, but we get to see being in the same office with you every day. So on behalf of everyone here, congratulations to you, Jen. Well-earned retirement. Congratulations to your family. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, this is the secret signal right here. Oh, you do your thing now.
I'm gonna get emotional. So I'm gonna do something else instead of talk.
Well, don't make yourself, you're talking.
I told you, Ally, I said, I'm not talking. No, you have been a mentor and a friend and a sister and a mother and a colleague. I'm very lucky. You. I'm going to the video. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. It is. It's good, right?
Mental note for Chief at the same time.
Nice.
It's good.
We're gonna use explanation.
Oh.
What, you a second?
That's why I did not want. Oh, my
Jen?
goodness. That was beautiful. Mal, Sam, I'm sure. This is your creation. That video is lovely that I can share with my family. I have notes because I be thinking straight. So Ali already talked about my years of public service. So how many years I've been here and my time at the city and I really only left the city because at the time this job was a 4-day-a-week job. Online, like, I know about this job and I looked and the only thing that was posted were the public minutes. And as you know, that's a snippet of what we do. And I thought, oh, how hard can this be? Because it was, I significant, at the time, this role was much smaller. And it was a significant, not say downgraded job, but significant salary cut and everything, but it looked so beautiful and interesting to me. It just had my name written all over, but I cut my salary to about half. Chose to do that, to come here. So, pretty quickly I learned it wasn't a part-time job, but I think part of that is that I created that problem for myself as well. But I was thinking about some of the statistics. So I think I'm in the range of 60 different bosses in 14 years because of the way boards change. So that makes for a really interesting role. 146 of these meetings in my 14 and a half years, and then hundreds in between, various smaller meetings. We used to have committee meetings. The thousands of fascinating tasks, opportunities, and roles that I never dreamed I'd do or even be capable of doing in this job. Many of you have referenced some of the roles. I can't believe how much I have contact with the community, which I love. Megan mentioned that. There's so much more to this job. A lot of that is due to the increasingly complex and challenging world of policing that all of you know all too well. Things have changed in 14 years for sure. The heightened expectations of the role of police boards in our province, the increasingly diverse needs of our community and their expectations of public servants and police, the myriad of social problems our community is facing, including our most vulnerable citizens whose needs are vast and complicated, as well as the changing leadership around the table. So different administration, different boards continually changing. What I can say for certain is this. There's no job that could have captured my interest and frankly, my heart, which you've mentioned, quite like this one did. So that's why this is very bittersweet for me. This moment, I'm ready. I'm ready to put some things back from the back burner onto the front burner in my life, my family, my relationships, my friendships, just my interests. I've not sort of pursued those things so much. This job has been a very large part of my life for a decade and a half. Interesting, challenging, exciting, rewarding, has made this job second to none. I have no regrets leaving a former job and coming to this job. The experiences this job has given me and the interesting, remarkable people I've worked with and for have all contributed to the richness of my career and my professional and personal growth for sure. It has truly been so much more than I imagined when I applied for the role in 2009. And there have been times, and I think I've said that around this table, there have been times that I feel that based on the experiences I'm having in this role, I should be paying the board for this. It has been so interesting.
We'll take it.
I told Melanie 2 and a bit years ago when we interviewed her, and by the way, I immediately liked her. I felt she'd be a great addition to the team. There were people that on paper had much more applicable experience, but it's the personality, it's the can-do attitude, it's the joie de vivre, and she learned the business. You can always learn the business, but if you don't have those skill sets, it's not going to work. Not in this role. But I told her that I was confident. I was trying to entice her to take the job. I was confident that she would never find the job more interesting than the one she had applied for.
And was I right?
Yeah.
So I thank everyone here and beyond these walls here that I've had the chance to work with for what you've taught me, allowed me to be a part of, and trusted me with all these years, and for all the memories. There are many extraordinary people in this building who do difficult, necessary, and often unimaginable work. You often don't get the respect you deserve. Sometimes, in fact, it's quite the opposite in this business. But I know you are appreciated and respected. Thank you for your tireless service to London. I'm so grateful and proud to have played even a very small supporting role to the work. The past 14 years have been my great honor and privilege. Thank you.
So, the number of times you've been the person that is this thing that has not really been that well again, but
Oh, I love it.
okay, Jen, on behalf of the board, I want to present this with you right here. It's a certificate of appreciation, which reads, in recognition of your exemplary passion, unparalleled dedication, and selfless service to both the London Police Service Board and the City of London, on behalf of the board, it really brings me an honor to present this to you. So, you know, thank you. Hopefully, yeah, I was gonna say, thank you. Hopefully that comes, yeah, we can do a picture.
You got none of peace service.
Well, I took the S off there, yeah. Wait. That's Sam Santos telling me to move. I have her voice in my head. We'll do one with you, but again by yourself. Good. All right.
Yeah.
Then we do one. There.
Perfect.
And I'll just end by saying, I quite literally come out of London. So, thanks for everything. One last round of applause for Jen Foster. Okay, everybody, the next London Police Services Board that Jen will not be at, it will be Thursday, September 19, 2024. And with that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn, moved by member Goss, seconded by member Branscombe. Anyone opposed? Seeing none. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Jen.
All right, thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Josh.
Partner.